Okay, let me see. So I'll just wait, share. Okay. I'm working with both of my screens, so
Yeah.
it's a little bit, it gets messy here. Okay, but now you guys can see the presentation, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And before we start, thank you so much for inviting me. I love talking about Science Gallery, so I obviously am super excited, and I hope people find it interesting too, since being a woman in the arts, it's a very interesting thing to be part of STEAM.
Yeah,
So thank
definitely.
you.
Happy to
Yeah,
have you.
we are very happy to have you. And actually, this is part of a continuous program that we have for our NOC network. Our network is an international network of science communicators from all around the world. We have more than 120 different countries, more than 300 people participating on it. So this is a specific program that we designed for them so that they can get together, get to know different creative ideas around science, around communication, but also ways to professionalize their own practices. So some of them are like very experienced science communicators, but some others are also like people astronomers, amateur astronomers that are like communicating in their own communities or small towns that probably maybe not have like as much access to many things. So this is I love what you have been doing with all the project within Science Gallery, but also
Thank you.
even before the
I'm going
Science
to start
Gallery,
meeting people soon.
yeah, and even before
Okay.
the Science Gallery thing, like Tec de Monterrey has been developing incredible things around art and science. So I think that's one of the most interesting things that we would definitely love to hear about. So we're gonna start
Awesome.
letting people in now, and when you can go ahead and get started with Naomi.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I'm gonna mute myself now, but I'm gonna be checking the comments or anything, and I'll be in the chat.
Okay, great. Thank you, Cynthia.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. Hello, everyone. We are now admitting people. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you all for joining the International Astronomical Union Office for Astronomy Outreach STEAM Machine Series. I would like to request that you put your country beside your name so we can know where you are joining us from. That'll be really great if you can do that. Thank you all for joining us again. And we have a very exciting session ahead of us. So I would like to introduce our speaker for today.
Hi,
Our
everyone.
speaker is, it's my pleasure to introduce today's speaker. She is Carmen Ruiz. Carmen is a visual artist, a curator, and educator from Coahuila, Mexico. I hope I got that right. With extensive experience in contemporary arts and curation and gallery management. She holds degrees in visual arts and printmaking and has curated over 30 exhibitions with a particular focus on promoting Latin American artists. Currently, Carmen serves as an arts professor at Tecnológico de Monterrey, an exhibition coordinator at Science Gallery Monterrey, where she is leading exciting projects that bring together arts, science, and society. Today, she'll be sharing her unique perspective on STEAM, practice, and the role of creative curation in shaping conversations around science and society. And her topic is Where Arts and Science Collide, the Monterrey story. So we'll welcome Carmen, and we look forward to her. So Carmen, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Naomi. And welcome, everyone. As Naomi mentioned, my name is Carmen Ruiz. And first of all, I just want to start saying that this is a very interesting experience. Since, as Naomi mentioned, my background is 100% in the arts. I studied visual arts, I did my master's degree in arts, and all of my life I have worked very closely related to teaching arts, or mostly in the last 7 years, I work at a contemporary art gallery here in Monterrey, Mexico. So my relationship with with everything, professionally speaking, has always been very closely related to the arts. So being in a place that is related to STEAM, and being in a place that is so closely related to technology and to science and engineering, it's a very interesting perspective when you're not a person that came originally from this area. So I've been working as an exhibition coordinator for Science Gallery. It just became a year last May, and it has been a life-changing experience and a very interesting part of how art can be incredibly transmedia and incredibly changing, and just an amazing language to make people understand and communicate, never minding the way that they are choosing to do it. And I've always believed the importance of talking about art. It doesn't matter your background. It doesn't matter if you're related to, if you're gonna be a professional artist, or if you're just doing it to make a hobby. I've always believed that art should be a major thing, because art makes us human and art connects us to society. So having the opportunity to talk about how art can just be part of something that is so big, even for people who have no background in this, has been an incredibly amazing experience, and something that through Science Gallery I've been defending. So this is a very unique thing, and I mostly wanted to share a little bit of, first of all, I want to talk about what is Science Gallery, because I know many people don't. I didn't know what Science Gallery was before I actually started to work here, and the first time I actually saw it, it was in a book fair, and I remember we were working on the museography of an exhibition of illustrations, and I saw Science Gallery, and I was like, what even is that? What is a Science Gallery? Like, for me in the arts, I felt kind of mildly offended, and I had no idea what was in store for me. So yeah, first I just want to talk a little bit about what Science Gallery is and what happened when it came here to Monterrey, and just a little bit of what we do, what we try to share with people, how we work with people. So hopefully you'll know it, and if you have a chance, collaborate with Science Gallery, because it's an amazing place, definitely. So with that in mind, first of all, here. So first of all, what is Science Gallery? So the first thing that we usually say when we're talking about this is that we're not a science museum. We're not an art gallery. So we are an experiment basically, where we like to say that we are the place where art and science collide. So when people come and visit, they will not find your regular just science museum showcasing things and discoveries and experiments. But at the same time, you're not going to come here and just find regular contemporary art, just to put it in a way. We are very unique in the ways that we create things, and we want to make a space that, as I mentioned in the presentation, it's a place that bridges art and science. It's a place that first of all, has to be very accessible to people. It's a place that has to invite people to collaborate, to experiment and try new things, and maybe discover something through their experience. So we always say this first. So you're not going to come to your regular place, but you're also not going to come here with the expectation that you're going to see art in this very like white, cold cube and things hanging on the walls and hands on the back. You're going to get hands-on with things. So it's a process of discovering and learning. So what are we? What are we at the end? So we are a place, as I mentioned, that is inviting to people. We are trying to make people interested in things that they maybe didn't know were actually interesting. So we are a place that tries to bring the whole concept of, when you're talking about art as a design space, as a place where things exist, and there's maybe a museography decision, and there are things that are related to a topic, which is very on brand of when you're working with an art gallery. But at the same time, you're also working with things that are very related to technology and to science. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to be a bridge. We're in between. And that's why I say that this place is a very unique thing. It's a very unique place. You will never find a place just exactly like this, because there are things that will remind you to what an art science museum might be. But at the end of the day, you'll also find things that are very related to the art world. And in our case, for example, we are a very small group. I'll talk a little bit more about this later on, but we are a small group, and we're actually 3 people. We have the director, my coworker, who is the education program manager, and myself, and we're all from the arts. We all studied arts. Nobody is from science. So talking this language through the vision of the arts and how we communicate through people is the way that we believe Science Gallery can actually connect to the community. So how do you make all of this accessible? How do you invite people? How do you feel them like they can collaborate with this sort of place? That is the work that we do as Science Gallery, and that is what makes us different. And at the end, I feel that it's an experience that after you live it, after you go through the gallery and you see the things and you interact with things and you end your experience here, I think you actually understand better what we're trying to do. So just to give a little bit of a background of what Science Gallery is, because I feel that it's important to talk about and where it came from, and what is our main goal. We're all connected. So we call it the Science Gallery Network. So Science Gallery has spaces in different universities around the world. It first started in Trinity College in Dublin back in 2008. And after that, it just kept on growing, and it became a place that had different spaces around the world. People join every sort of year. So we have galleries that are changing. Our main base is still in Dublin right now, but right now we have 5 spaces. So we have galleries in Atlanta, here in the United States, in Bengaluru. We have in London, in Melbourne, and right now here in Monterrey. So the idea is that all of the science galleries are kind of independent in the way that we design the exhibition. So we have to have, just as a regular art gallery, we have to have a topic. We have to have an idea that we need to develop before we do an open call process, but everyone is connected. So we constantly have these meetings to keep updates and talk about what other galleries are doing, the programs that have worked, how are we connecting to the community, and also so that the topics are all kind of in the same brand, but they're all different. So we all can decide what we want to talk about, and I really like that, because even though we're trying to keep on the same idea of talking about STEAM and talking about technology and science, we need to be relevant to the community that we belong. We need to do things that actually matter to the community that we belong. So even though we are part of this network and we are constantly in touch, and I love it because everyone at the network are like the most friendly, geeky, nerdy people you'll find. And most of them are actually women, which is something that I really enjoy. Our director, Sarah Durkan, is a woman, and most of the people that I work with the international network are all women. So it has been an incredible experience also to talk about all of these topics with women in STEAM. But there is a certain way that we can just, through the language that Science Gallery just mentions, we need to talk about how this can be relatable to the people that we are trying to reach. So that can be a very unique experience depending of the different science galleries that you actually can see. But if you're in the area, I would highly recommend that you get the opportunity and visit them, because they're incredible spaces. And we have so much to learn from them. I mean, we're the babies. We only have, I mean, we just opened back in December, so we're the babies from the network. We still have so much to learn, and we are a smaller science gallery compared to other places. I mean, Bangalore is just huge. But yeah, so as I mentioned, There's 5 members, and this one, and I am so happy and so proud to mention, this is the first science gallery in all of Latin America. So this is great, and this is huge, but also it is a very daunting sort of thing, because when you think of Monterrey, you don't think of a place for arts. And I know we're talking about science gallery and we're talking about technology and everything, but at the end of the day, we're still a gallery that is very close on how the arts work. And when you think about these sort of topics, you don't think about Monterrey. This city that we're living in, it's a city that has been widely known for its background in industries. The government, for many years, this city has always been very sided with industries, with technology, with just this heavy machinery kind of work. And arts has, for a long time, never been a very important topic for the city, which is very amazing when you study arts and you live here, as you can imagine. And since a few years back, I feel that there has been a very noticeable change in how we understand the city, and there has been a change in spaces for art. And suddenly, maybe about 15 years ago till today, I have seen an actual change of more independent art spaces growing, and more spaces for humanities, and more spaces for exploring things. And I feel that in whole, the combination to talk about Monterrey and this university, which is the Tecnológico de Monterrey, which is a university that is widely known for their engineering and scientific programs, and arts, it's just something that doesn't mix. So I find it very interesting that the way that we bridge this is through a place like this. When you are in a university that widely favors science and widely favors just very, and I don't mean that science is like that, but when you favor students thinking in this very close kind of way, and you don't let them explore that much, to have a space like this so they can try new things and they can understand the world in a different way through something that they are learning in university. But it is at the end a language that talks through art. It's a very unique thing. And I feel that we have a very important job to just pass on the message that the international network has instilled on us, in a city that is trying to understand its place in the arts in general. And it has been a very interesting, but also fun, because it's been at the end of the day, it's been a very fun experience to discover all of this through the community. And I remember when I was studying that I looked at this university like, oh, this is a very cold university. It's a university that is so much designed for engineering and just keep on doing and feeding the big machine. So for me, I could never imagine having a space that is so creative and so innovative here. And here we are, opening the first science gallery in all of Latin America. So that has been a very interesting experience. And I think it talks about also the change that the city has been seeing in how it relates to these sort of things. And it's a very sneaky way to talk about the future and reflecting on our own humanity, but through things that are related to technology and things that are related to the future. Things that Monterrey likes, that the tech likes, but at the end of the day, we'll talk about what makes us human, which is our subtext as art people, to talk about our humanity. Doesn't matter which language, it doesn't matter what we're using, we're still talking about who we are as people. So this for us is incredible. So just to put us in context, Science Gallery, which is where I'm at right now, well, this is the office. But so we are in a building, which is a very brand new building. There's still things that are just finished being built. It's called Expedition, which is funded by a company called FEMSA. So Expedition is a 7-story building that houses a lot of initiatives from different things. So we, as you can see, we have things that are related to biotechnology, advanced technology, educational transformation, entrepreneurship, social impact programs, and business intelligence. So we have different initiatives all through the 7 floors that are doing research, that are talking about our future, that are talking about the community. There, we have a venture cafe in the second floor, which is also a very popular international program. So we have different people all related to these same topics that are just working on research and doing experimentation on different floors with different things. So it's a very unique building because all of the initiatives have this future sense when they're doing all of the research. So we're talking about how we're going to be able to live in 100 years. How is the society? How is the air going to be clean? What can we do to change this? What technologies can we improve? So all of these initiatives are related to this. They're all related to research. So we have a lot of people in the science working here. We have a lot of people from technology. We have people that are working on new ways to talk about medicine. We have a sports program that are trying to design new technologies just to take a full scan of the body and just tell you everything that is wrong with you or everything that you can do better. We have technologies that are constantly trying and to be innovation. So for me, it makes all the sense in the world that Science Gallery is just at the entrance of the building. So we are this gateway to the future. And then when you come inside this expedition building, the first thing you will see is Science Gallery. And then after you see Science Gallery, you'll go through the stairs and then you'll see all the different initiatives. And I'll make a point of how this makes sense. But when I saw the place and I understood all of the initiatives that are collaborating here, because that's what we do, we collaborate. We're constantly thinking of how to help each other, how to work with one another. We already have collaborated with initiatives here in the building. So we're all working together on this. And I love it. And I love that we're in the entrance. And we love that this is the first thing visitors see. So something that is also very interesting, especially when you talk about a private university like Tech of Monterrey, is that we are the first building that is open to the public. So Monterrey is part of Tech of Monterrey is part of the Innovation District, which is a global organization that what it tries to do is just bring more of these kind of things to the community and make it open. So we are part of the Innovation District, and this is the first building that is going to change the landscape of the area. So for tech to have a building that is absolutely open to the public, that everyone can come in, not just your regular students, but everyone from the community can visit and be a part of this, and they can come to Venture Cafe and they can come to Science Gallery. It is a never seen before thing. It's never seen before, especially from this university, which tends to be very closed, and people know this. So to have all of this just dedicated to the community feeds on the same message that we feel is important when you talk about a place, for example, like Science Gallery. Everything that we do needs to have the mindset to communicate to everyone, not just the students, not just the professors, not just the people who are doing research inside the building, but also to everyone in the community. So this is something that we need to have in mind when we talk about this. So the way we do it is through a program that's very interesting. So what we do is that we believe that when you're building a space like this, you need people that are the same age as your main demographic to talk about everything that you're doing. So we cannot do it alone. We're just 3 people here in the space. So what we do is that we try to bring students to work with us so they can actually be the ones who communicate everything that we are doing to all of us, to everyone. So we build these exhibitions, but we're always building with the community in mind. And the best way to reach community is through the same community. So what we do is that we have this very lovely program that's called the Mediator Program. Every Science Gallery has it. It's just one of the main bases of Science Gallery. So we have 2 things that are super important. First of all, it's important to know that all of the Science Galleries will always be free. There will never be a charge to enter because this is not one of our main things. If we're trying to bring art and science to the community, if we're trying to bring something that may be interesting and life-changing and just a different experience, we cannot have a price on that. So it needs to be a free service. And the other one is that we will always make students our main part of Science Gallery. So the way we do this is through this mediators program. And what we do is that we invite students that are doing, it depends on science galleries. In our case in particular, what we do is that we work with students that are doing their social services. They're doing their social services, they're doing their professional practices, and we invite them to be part of Science Gallery. So for them, what this means is that they become a very integral part of how Science Gallery communicates to everyone. So, for example, when we were building the exhibition, students were part of the building of the exhibition. So we have, I'll talk about this a little bit later, but we have the opportunity to have artists come here and build part of their artworks. So we had students that connected with the artists and worked directly with them. So that was the first experience. Just have them be part. Teach them how to handle art, how to work with artists, find the different backgrounds for all of them, and just put them and locate people that could relate to them, so they could work on that exhibition, on that art piece. And then after the exhibition was done and the space was open, we created this program where they learned. They had to interact with every one of the artworks. They actually made a whole reflection of which artwork they like better, how they feel this is important, if they had an art piece that connected with them, what they like to do more. So based on that, they could participate and just talk about the exhibition in a language they actually liked. So if you come to visit, and one of the mediators might give you a tour, and the tour will be completely different depending on the mediator that you have, because maybe you'll talk to a mediator that's an architecture student, and then he'll talk about a specific artwork that he really likes or she really likes, and the way that this mediator will talk about the exhibition will be different. For example, if you come and you have a mechatronics student, or if you have a biotechnology student, if you have a medicine student. So every time you'll see a different experience, because mediators learn to read the space through their eyes and just based on everything that they love. And this was our main goal. We wanted students to be passionate about it, and you cannot force people to be passionate about something that they don't understand. So when you have this, and you can find ways for this to reach different areas of of what they're studying and what they're passionate about, and just tell them through this, just talk about it on the language that you like. And then you have mechatronics students just talking with researchers in a language that I don't understand, but they've seemed fascinated of what they're saying. And it's incredible, because it just creates so many different languages. And at the end, it's just art being the bridge that connects all of these different things. It doesn't matter if you have a humanities student that's doing arts, or if you're having someone who is in biotechnology, they'll find a way to talk about Science Gallery and be excited about it. And that is our main goal, and that's what excites me the most. Just something very interesting that I do want to mention that we have found is that when we first started the social services program, so you have to fill this form, right? And you have to fill the form, and you have to send it, so tech will make the program public and just bring students here. And at the beginning, we were like very serious with talking about how we were doing a Science Gallery and just science as the main thing. And then we realized that we just had men students, just men, no women. And we found this very interesting. I mean, not surprising, because I know that this area is a difficult area for women, because they're not as welcome as men. So this is something that is very known. And we felt that they weren't engaging with the idea of Science Gallery, taking in just an idea that they didn't know what Science Gallery was. They just read Science Gallery and they were like, no. And then we changed the ways that we talk about the program. We changed the way that we talked about it. So we tried to do more emphasis in art and a little bit less emphasis in science. And then the women started to come in. And we were very excited because we realized that when you do a little bit more emphasis in art, we had more women that came. And then, we have students from all of the areas that on our first idea, on our first draft, that was more heavily based on just this science gallery, more like serious kind of thing. So we are very, very heavy on having a 50-50 divided students. We always try to have the same amount of women, the same amount of men. And especially we want to make women that are part of this team feel welcome, because we know, we understand. And even, it doesn't matter in which area, women always are not as welcome sometimes. And so we always try to make women students feel welcome in the space, and just always have this quota. We need to have 50-50 because we need their voices and we need to have them be here. And honestly, we have found out that they love the place. And when you make them part of it, not just they're not just coming here to do a social service. They're coming here to learn and to experiment and to try things that are somehow forbidden in a lot of places, which is something that I love, because when you're talking about this art thing, and when you think about an art gallery, you think about this white cube that is very cold, and art is there in the wall, and you're not supposed to be touching, and you're supposed to be 1 meter away from the artwork. Here, they come, they experiment, they work with the artists, and they get hands-on. Most of our artwork is interactive. So it's incredible to have them just try things and then talk about them. We make them discuss what they like, what they don't like, what they could do better, and how this affects them and how it relates to them. So when they share about the experience, it comes from a place that is very authentic, and it's not just your regular museum guide. So that's what we're trying to do here when we work with students. We make them a very important part of the process. So again, it's a very interesting thing, because when you are building and designing a place like this, and you need to make people understand that it doesn't matter what the main outlet you are showing. If you're showing an artwork that is related to artificial intelligence, or is related to different things, the language that they're speaking is always through the arts. So I always have been this great champion of belief that art is the mother of all sciences. So if you understand how to speak this language, you can translate so many things. So it doesn't matter if you're working with scientists, if you're working with people in technology, it doesn't matter. The language is the same. You need their artwork to communicate to people, and art is a place to do it. Art is a place where people can experiment and can see. And most of all also is that when you come and you live the experience, at the end, you're having a reflection. You're having a process of self-thought when you say, okay, I just lived this experience, but this experience also left me something. And maybe your experience might be a very positive experience, but maybe some of the things you see here might be a little bit scary. And when you talk about the future, it might be a scary thing. And through this, you can actually make your own decision. But you live the place with a reflection of everything you saw and everything you learn. And when you come through the building, after you see the exhibit, it stays here. And you say, okay, I saw this, and we're talking about things that are good and are bad, that are happening, and or things that may happen in the future. This is the topic at the end, to live with a reflection that just stays with you. Okay, so we like to say that when we work with the community, we're trying to democratize science. And this is a very huge thing when I say it. I'm not saying we have already done it. We're working on it, we're trying, but it's a place that tries to democratize science. The idea is to bring these big international projects and just take them down so the community can actually have access to them. So we need to be accessible, we need to be friendly, and we need to have these very interesting projects, but in a way that community can actually see them and interact with them and just enjoy them at the end. Because Science Gallery is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be interesting. It's supposed to be a place that you like to visit and you will like to come back eventually. So these are just a few images of our mediators working with different people. And not just that, but we also make a point of working with the initiatives inside the building. So for example, inside here, we've made friends. And for me, it's a very interesting thing because I never had friends who were like doctors in science and all of these things. I feel like we are the weirdos of the building because we're just the three art people just here, just pretending that we belong, and everyone is just amazing people doing amazing things, and we're just here being the art weirdos that help everyone communicate their ideas. So we have collaborated with them, and it has been an incredibly experience working alongside the different initiatives in the building. Just one example that I would love to share. We work with an initiative called the Behavioral Research and Public Opinion Lab through the Brain Awareness Week, which we work with the Dana Foundations. And the idea is that they came down with this specific, these very interesting devices that what they did is that they took biometric measurements of the brain and the way we react to art. So we invited people who have never come to visit the space, and they put on these devices and they just did all this calibration, and then they invited them to come in and they gave the tour of all of the artwork. And then they make readings of which artwork was more interesting, which one had more reactions, which all the measurements. And you could actually see on the outside of the gallery, we had the screen, which is on the upper right side of the presentation, but you could see the screen and you could actually see the way the brain was reacting to different artwork on all on the people who were visiting. So it was wild for us to have this information to actually, we could see people reacting to different artworks and art, and you could actually track the eye movement through different spaces in the gallery. So honestly, it was an incredible thing, and we just sat down to have a drink with them and we talked, and then this happened. So collaboration is always key here. We're always working together. Everyone is super friendly, and everyone just comes here and is like, I want to work with you. I'll design something and we can do something. And we're always like, yes, yes, please. We want to do weird things. We want to experiment. We want to try stuff. So it's always a great experience just working with the different with different initiatives. So now that I mentioned all of that, I want to talk a little bit about the exhibition that we have right now and how we build it, because at the end of the day, I am an exhibition coordinator, and my passion will always be building exhibitions that people love. And how can I design a space that will make people feel welcome and want to explore? And how can I bring people inside the space, which is my main goal here at Science Gallery. So right now we have an exhibition that's called Brave New Future. It's our first exhibition. This is how we started Science Gallery. This is the entrance to our space. We are a smaller science gallery, but I feel like since we are a small team, this is just perfect. So Brave New Future, the idea was to talk about when we're talking about a building that's called Expedition, and we're all expeditioners and we're all initiatives thinking about the future. We wanted to talk about who is designing this future and who has the right to talk about this future. So who are we going to be? What is happening, and what is our place as humans in this future that we are building? That is the idea of Brave New Future. So we had an open call, which is the regular process that Science Gallery does. We have open calls. We invite people from all over the world. There is no restrictions. Everyone can showcase, everyone can send their project, and it gets chosen if it gets chosen. So for this exhibition, we have over 200 proposals from 47 countries. So we have an online platform where people can propose their program. They are funded. We do pay artists to come here to showcase their work. We do have funding for all of the artwork. And from all of these 200 proposals, we selected 10. So it was a very heavy selection process. So we selected 10. And just to talk a little bit about the pieces that we felt were like very interesting for the community. When you come inside the space, you have, for example, this tree. And it's a very basic idea of something that we feel is very important. So this is from a couple of artists from France. It's called Phytopoiesis, and it's just a living tree that we had to get here and just learn how to take care of it and water it and just try for not to die. And you come inside the gallery, you see the tree, you touch it, and then the tree will react to your touch, and it'll show images on the screen. So it has an electronic device that just connects with the electricity in your body. So when you touch the leaves, the tree will make sounds and it'll show on the screen images. And we love this because it's the first thing that you see when you come inside. And it's just a very simple reminder. If you're going to talk about the future, you need to understand that we are not the only ones that you're going to talk about. You need to talk about the rest of everything else that is part of the future that we need to bring with ourselves. So this is the main thing that you see when you enter the building. Then we have, for example, this, which I really, really love, that's called Ski Market. So this is from Ireland and from the United States. And the idea of this is that it's kind of like a mini market. So just there's different things that you can see. You through a QR code on your phone, you scan it, and then you go on online shopping where you can buy 5 things that are on this mini market. So these 5 things can be a lot of different things. There can be a cute cat video subscription, which is the first thing that I selected. It can be a vinyl of the month club. It can be so many things. So you have to choose 5 things that represent who you are. And after you buy these 5 things, there is an algorithm that is designed to just give a reading of what the algorithm thinks of your personality. So it's a very wild thing because people come in and they buy these 5 things and then they do a self-checkout. And at the self-checkout, it'll give you a ticket. And the ticket will have what the algorithm thinks of you based on your 5 things that you bought. So you'll read your personality. And it's a very interesting algorithm that the artists have designed that shows different things related to the 5 things that you chose. And it's a wild thing. It's kind of like this very tarot mystic reading, astrological kind of thing, right? So people love it, and sometimes the algorithm will say things that are correct, and sometimes they'll say things that are wrong, which is exactly what we want to talk about when you're talking about how Instagram and Facebook will show you things that are related to, oh, we think you might like this. It doesn't come from nothing. You know that it comes from a series of readings of how we use the internet. So that's what we're trying to show through this, how the algorithm is reducing humanity to just elements of consumption and just trying to read our personality through based on what we buy. So it's a very kind of dark kind of thing, but it's important to talk about it. And we're showing it in this very fun and shiny way, but the subtext is kind of dark, and it's part of the process of when you're talking about the future, you need to talk about this. It's important. So this is the way when I say that the artwork needs to be interesting, it needs to be inside of the STEAM process, but also it needs to have a reflection. It needs to be something that you can learn from it. You can carry and just leave the place thinking, wow, this is interesting, or this is kind of dark, or this is, I don't know, whatever you feel when you leave the place, but you leave with a reflection. There's another artwork that I absolutely love. This is from Mexico, and it's called Coralysis. And this artwork actually, there's a few of them that are already been placed, but the idea is that it's a 3D printed ceramic sculpture. And this sculpture, what it does is that the artists work together with different associations. They brought it down into the ocean, and it mimics the way corals work. So basically, in places where corals have died, you can use this as a way to help clean the ocean with this technology that is supposed to be a way just to mimic corals in general. And right now there are different, there's a beach here in Mexico that has this, and it has been there for quite a few years, and it is working. It is working, and it's helping to do the work of corals that are actually dying. So this is amazing. It's a beautiful artwork, but at the same time, it's how technology can help us maybe heal a little bit of the damage of what we're doing to the oceans, and how, again, if you're talking about who we are and what we're going to do, this is a way that we can help. But the person who made it is an artist, and he had the idea, so he had to collaborate with different associations and researchers and scientists just to make this possible, and it happened. So we're so happy to have it here. It's just one of the main pieces that we have on the space. Another one that we have is called Voice in My Head, and I may need to go a little bit faster. I'm sorry. Another artwork that we have is Voice in My Head, and Voice in My Head is an artificial intelligence, kind of very chat GPT that is designed to mimic your own voice. So Voice in My Head is this device, and you talk to it, and it'll ask you questions about how is your conscious, how do you talk to yourself, are you nice to yourself, what do you want your conscious to do? And after talking to yourself, you'll start talking back in your own voice, and it'll ask you to come outside a very soundproof booth that we designed, and it'll ask you to come out and just talk to people, and you have one earpod on, and the artificial this chat will tell you things. Oh, your friend sounds stressed, say something that relaxes your friend, or you need to be more engaged in this conversation. So it'll be your conscious but better. So it's a very creepy but interesting. Some people love it, some people find it absolutely disturbing, to hear their own voices just telling them what to do, and then they'll ask you to come back to this soundproof space, and they'll give you a mantra, and he'll tell you to repeat 3 times, you need to be more assertive, you need this sort of things, and he'll give you like a conclusion to your experience, and it's kind of unnerving. But it's something that is happening. I mean, ChatGPT and people making friends with artificial intelligence is something that is already happening. So it's this very wild thing of how your conscious could be better. And then we have, for example, corals. And this artwork is by Marco Barotti, which is an artist from Italy. And corals is this very poetic display of these artificial corals that are underwater through a projection. And on the computer every day connects to a database on NASA that downloads information of the temperature of the water. So it'll be jumping around the world to different places where the temperature of the water has been rising and corals have been dying. And whenever the level of alert goes from 3 or 4, which 4 is new, so we're very scared of that, the corals will scream. Everything will go white and the corals will start screaming. So it's a very unnerving artwork, and we have places where you can sit and just live the experience, and sometimes it will be quiet, and sometimes the world will jump to a place where you'll have a reading of 3 and everything will go white, so it'll be kind of a crazy thing. And then we have the Neurorights Arcade, for example, which this one was very interesting because it's an artist from Belgium called Roel Hedemans. And Roel designed these arcades to talk about there are 5 neurorights. So each of them, or each of the arcades will ask you questions related to the 5 neurorights, which is mental privacy, personal identity, free will, equal access to mental enhancement, and protection against algorithm bias. So we ask you questions related to that, but at the same time that it's asking you the questions, you can answer through the joystick, but the headsets actually have this spiky things that is reading your neural responses. So you'll see on the screen just going down your brain waves answering these questions. So at the same time that we're asking you about privacy, we're violating your privacy just by reading your neural responses, but putting on the headset. So the idea is exactly that, just to have this process of this artwork that is interesting and it's very interactive, but at the same time, it's supposed to have a reflection of everything that is related to the future, in this case in particular, or anything of the topics that we're talking about. So when you leave Science Gallery, you're not just leaving a place where everything, oh, it's interesting, but you're leaving a place that is actually trying to teach you something through the language of art, but in a very transmedia way. This is just some images of the space. of how we design the area and how we have everything just set up. We have more artwork, but I could go about around this forever, but I don't want to go more with. I want to feel more time that I'm supposed to, because I think I already went a little bit over time. I'm so sorry, but just to have these images. So now that we are working with this, and just because I think it's important to mention this, we did have the fortune of having some artists come to build some of the artworks, and it was an amazing experience. We got, because we had students who worked with the artists. So my work was just finding what the students were wanted to do, and just putting them in places that they would find interesting. And the artists were very comfortable working with the students. They were like, "Oh, you're working with me? Okay, come here. You're gonna help me pick this up. You're gonna build this. You're gonna weld this. You're gonna grab this Arduino and just connect this, and you're gonna help." They had no issues just taking the students and putting them to work. So to have students after that give the tours of Brave New Future to people who were coming to visit, when they were the ones who actually worked in building the exhibition, made a completely different experience on how you talk about an exhibition, because it was something that was made also because of them. And that is something that I feel is one of the most interesting experience as an art mediator, as a person who has worked on building these exhibitions, which is something that is usually a very inside job. You never see an art gallery when they're building an exhibition. We always have it behind closed doors. So to have students working with artists and with ourselves, building this exhibition and being part of all the backbone of what happens when you're constructing this, completely changed the way that they understood the space. And they completely changed the way that they perceive art and what we were doing here. And I feel, for me, it was one of the most fulfilling experience just to have students be part of this, and just living with this and knowing that they were part of this place, and just wanted to keep on coming and build more exhibitions with the artists. It's just an incredible thing that I feel there is no other place that can actually teach them this in this way. They were working with professional art handlers, because again, this is a very collaborative work. So I coordinated, but I'm not doing this alone. So I had art handlers working with the artists, and I had students, and they all had, the art handlers were teaching students how to touch things and how to graph things, and the artists were teaching them how to work with things. So you have, in this image, for example, on the down left side, you have 3 students who were actually programming the computers, an artist that Rule needed for the Neurobytes arcade, which were very specific computers that it took me so long to find, because again, I am not a person in science, I am just a person in arts. So I even had to call my dad, who is he is an engineering, and he's very well known in technology. So I had to call him and be like, the artist needs an NVIDIA GTX video graphic. I have no idea where to find it. And he's like, I'll help you. So I had to call everyone to help me out to understand this language. It was an incredible process, but it's also always very collaborative. So that is amazing. So yeah, I think when you talk about this place, I mean, I honestly, I am very passionate, and I have to be honest, working in contemporary art, and I love it, but sometimes it can be a little bit tiring, because you know that you're building an exhibition to a very specific audience. When you work in contemporary art and regular contemporary art, you're building an exhibition to a very specific audience, and science gallery is for everyone. It's so much fun building a place that is welcoming to all of the community. And we even have graphics here that, I'm sorry, some of them are kind of in Spanish, but you can have an idea of the amount of visitors that we have. We have more women than men coming to visit. We have mostly people between 18 to 24 years coming to visit. So we had over 7,800 people coming to visit, and we just opened on December the 1st last year. So it was so much more than we were expecting. So we're so grateful, honestly, and it is an amazing place, and it has been an incredible experience designing something that is like this, and just creating programs to keep it interesting. Right now we're doing consciousness, so we're working on our next exhibition. We received 241 projects. We're just doing our final process of selection for the exhibition. So we're going to work on this idea, which is going to open on October the 2nd. So we're super excited because we already have students who are asking when will the exhibition be put up, because they want to work on building the exhibition. So we already have a waiting list of students who want to work with artists and just want to do it again because they loved it so much. So we are super happy to be part of this. And honestly, for me in the arts, I got very tired working with contemporary art galleries. I feel like my soul needed this change, and just building exhibitions for the community changed my life. So I'm very happy to share with everyone this, and I would be very happy if anyone has questions, because I feel like I went over the time. I'm so sorry, but thank you for the opportunity to talk about this.
Hello, Carmen. Thank you so much. I think you've entranced us all. I think I was just hooked, and I had to like lift my jaw off the table just because of all the wonderful things you are doing. It's so exciting. I think the comments were just coming, like people's minds were being blown, literally. So that's how cool what we think you are doing is. So
Yay.
congratulations. It's an amazing work you're doing, and I wish I could come and visit you. I think I should.
Yes,
I think
if you
we should
come.
plan something to join you at your gallery and experience all that you're doing. I can't wait. Maybe when you finish your consciousness curation, maybe we invite you again to come and tell us about what you were able to exhibit and like the thought process behind it. I think it will be very exciting for all of us. Now,
Yeah.
I think we open the floor for questions. To the participants, please, if you want to ask a question, please raise your hand and we will unmute you so that you can ask your question to Carmen. If you wish to type it too, that's fine. You can always do that. And I think there was a comment earlier from the NOC of Guatemala who wants to connect with you because they have a conference that's about physics of music. So she's
Oh,
called
wow.
Aliska, and she put her contact in the chat. So
Okay.
maybe you could grab it
Yeah,
and then you can continue the conversation offline later.
sure.
That'll be great.
Awesome. And also, I'll also leave anyway my email on the chat. So if anyone wants to connect, by all means, we love working with everyone. We're very open to it. So I'll just leave it in the chat.
Great. Let me see. So all I'm seeing are fantastic because I told you our minds have been blown, like literally today. Thank you so much. Are there any questions from the participants? I'm not seeing any hands up. Oh, yeah, Cynthia, please. Do I need to unmute you or you can unmute yourself?
I can unmute myself, but I see Anna has another question. So first Anna, and then I can go. Yeah.
Okay. Let me see. How do I unmute?
Is
Oh
it?
yeah, I think
Can you hear me now?
yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Carmen. It
Yes.
was amazing. I mean, I'm so amazed. There's no other word to say. Super congratulations. I'm
you.
really doing something to go and visit you because it's marvelous all that you have been doing. And in my opinion, I want to know your opinion about how difficult it is to actually connect scientists with artists, because sometimes the way we perceive the world, the way we want to explain it, it's quite different. So actually making two senior scientists and artists to work together, how difficult has it been? And the other one is, how can we participate with you? How can we send you all these scientists in my convenience from Mexico to work with you? How can we actually invite them to collaborate with the artists that you're working with?
Okay, so I love this because for me, I mean, I love the challenge, and I mentioned I love talking about art being this universal conduct for everything that we do in life, and everything that I have learned through life is just understanding that art connects us as human. So it's not limited to what we study, what we do. Art is always the language that everyone can speak. So sometimes some scientists do have an idea of what they're trying to say, and we just take this idea and we try to process it in a way that can be more friendly to people. But I have found that even in their wildest concepts of how they conceive their work, they have a very clear idea of what they want to show. As long as they understand what they want people to see, we can always take that and just bring it so people can actually understand it. So if scientists or people in research come and say, I want people to take this from everything, then I can just say, okay, from this we can go through these different places and we can just make it happen. So so far it has been kind of a smooth ride just working with these different people, but I have found some of them that have problems just to define certain things that are more related to technical requests for an art gallery space. So they'll tell me the artwork that they want to show, but they'll never tell me the measurements, so they won't send me an image of what they're trying to show. They just send this large PDF with technical information. I'm like, that's amazing, but how does it look? How much space is it going to take on the gallery? I mean, I have no idea. So these are the kind of the things that we need them just to guide them. Like, this is amazing, but could you send me this? Could I find this? Could you be more specific with the visual representation of what you're trying to show? These are the parts that we just need them to push them a little bit to understand. And for collaboration, I mean, what we do is usually it depends on what people are trying to bring to the table. So, for example, in the case of the Behavioral Research Lab, they knew that they want to work with the Dana Foundation and they had these devices. So they decided to work with us through that. And we just designed the exhibition, and we did a collaborative process of, when you want to do that, and I think we could just take it and just make it work on this way. So it's a very unique thing to work with different people. But I mean, if you have any ideas, you can always just connect with me, or even with my coworker Tanya, who is educational project coordinator, and we can always find a way to make it work. I mean, we have, for example, a hackathon where students from mechatronics will gonna come and fix one of the artworks that is a sensor is not working correctly, and they're going to come here and just be 24 hours just working on making a few of the sensors work. So we always find a way to just make them a part of the space.
Thank you so much, Carmen. Any other question? Oh, Cynthia, you can ask your question now.
Yeah.
Oh, Edgar, when you finish your question, Edgar has a question here.
I just wanted to ask, because one of the things that I find more interesting of the Monterrey project is because it's part of Science Gallery as a whole. And as you explained it in the beginning, so this Science Gallery Foundation has these different places all around the world. So that's one of the things that was very amazed for me, that is this international collaboration on these different places in these very, very different countries. So I would like to know a little bit more on how this, because for people who don't know Mexico, Monterrey is the third biggest city in Mexico. Mexico is a big country, but also Monterrey is, like Carmen said, is a city that is very much industrial. Most of the companies are there, like very much industrial. So there's a lot of factories, and it has like a very specific way of people. So having this project is a little bit weird, and also having it as being the first one in Latin America. So I would like to know a little bit of how all of your team ended up being able to have this project brought to Mexico, and maybe how long did it take, the preparation to it?
It's kind of a separate process, because we're not exactly sure who actually had the idea to have the science gallery here in Monterrey. I've asked around and nobody knows. It's kind of like this mysterious thing. But I mean, when they designed the idea of building the expedition building, they knew exactly that they wanted to have it here. So as you mentioned, Monterrey is a very industrial city, and even the people who founded the building, FEMSA, which is a company that is also very industrial in its processes, It was a kind of like a very interesting collaboration with them. Science Gallery actually took about a year. They signed the contract with the network, and maybe I think about a year later where that we actually started to see things related to Science Gallery. And it was kind of a crazy thing because the building actually got delayed because we were supposed to open on September last year, but then we had like this massive hurricane that destroyed part of the building, so we had to push back until December. But I think that for me it makes all the sense to have it here, but we actually don't know how the process actually started. But I know they wanted it for this specific building. They wanted it for a place that was thinking like future forward thinking, which is something that tech has had very like heavy on its mind in the last few years. Tech has decided to focus a lot of their their knowledge and a lot of their energy into future-based technologies and science and research. So I think it makes sense when they were talking about joining the innovation district, because Science Gallery tends to work very related to the innovation district, to have a science gallery in this place, because it's all related to future forward thinking and just having this way of bringing research down to just open community.
Thank you so much, Carmen. And it's a question from Edgar, which is, can you share where the funding is coming from? I think that's something we are all asking in our hearts.
Yeah, totally. So every science gallery has different ways of how they work with funding. In our case, for example, the funding comes, I might say through the university, but it's actually also coming from FEMSA. So FEMSA is this very big company here in Monterrey that actually donates a lot of money to different areas, and they work very related to Tech of Monterrey. They're very closely how they work. So FEMSA actually donates a lot of money to the university. So FEMSA we made a business case for them for the next 5 years, and they basically packed funding for 5 years for Science Gallery specifically. So we have a specific amount that we can work with each year. And we have that amount of money to work with artists. So all of this money is used to building the exhibition, paying the artists, paying the artwork, and also doing programs for the community. So that is where all the money needs to go. And we are fortunate enough to have just certified funding for the next 5 years. After that, we'll see. But this is usually how they work. We have different universities bring their funding. And for example, you have Science Gallery Melbourne. Science Gallery Melbourne actually does weddings because they're huge, and they do parties, and they have a cafe, and they do events, and they do DJ sets nights, and those actually cost money. So even after they have funding from the university, they also are kind of sustainable on their own sort of way. That is allowed. Just we'll never charge entrance. That will never be allowed for Science Gallery.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Do we have any more questions from our audience? Okay. Let me see. Right. All I'm seeing are thank yous from our participants, and I want to say thank you so much, Carmen, from all the team at OAO, from our NOCs. It has been amazing listening to you. Your enthusiasm, I think, has affected all of us, and what you said, we can see the passion that you have, and I think it's something we all like to experience. And I think everybody's planning on coming to Mexico to see.
Yes, if anyone comes by Monterrey, please let me know. I will be very happy to bring you to Science Gallery and just give you a tour of this amazing place. And thank you all for inviting me. As you see, I mean, I'm very in love with the project. It has been a very wild experience. And I'm very humble because I've never thought that somebody from the arts would be in a place that is so heavy on science and everything, and just teach people to speak their language through art has been the most incredible thing that I could do.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And Thank you to our NOCs for joining us and our participants. We are really grateful. Please look out for our next event, which will be the Women in Solar Physics webinar, which will be on the 20th. We hope to see you all there.